Hello and welcome into another video from me, Brant. Now, this video is one I've been wanting to do for a really long time. So this is concerning the Maggotkin of Nurgle and their release, which happened not too long ago. They got the new battle tome, they got a new model, but I was hoping for a lot more from that release. Now, I'm going to go through everything with you and a bunch of ideas that I had, which is essentially just ideas from a Games Workshop novel that came out concerning the Maggotkin that I think had so many good ideas on it that was underutilized. So we're going to go through first. This is the preview, which happened again. This is December the 5th, where they had the models for pre-order for that upcoming Saturday, the next week. So there was the Warhammer 40k stuff that came out, which is fine, but we got into, here we go, the AOS Maggotkin. So here's the new battle tome that came out. So the battle tome was a huge deal because they went from having a book in first edition, no book in second, to this third edition book. They were the last book done in first edition, but they, again, technically never got a new battle tome in second edition. So new book, exciting, right? So when this came out, I'm scrolling down, Rotbringer Sorcerer, cool. Love the new model. It had the two different head options where you can put on a fly head. I definitely plan on getting this model, converting it into something for my Death Guard. But great new model. I love everything about it. It screams Nurgle to me. It's great. You went down to the new Vanguard box. This is fine. More stuff for Nurgle. Great. New Dice and War Scroll cards. Sounds good. And then it was like, oh, okay. That's it. I was like, aren't there more new models in that? But this was the whole release. This was the new updated battle tome with that one new model. So if you go into the Games Workshop webpage, all of the Grand Alliance of Chaos is divided up: Blades of Khorne, Disciples of Tzeentch, but the demons and the human followers are put together under these headings. So with all of these different items here, only 10 of these are for the mortal followers of Nurgle. Okay, so 10 of 36. So there's 26 options. Again, some of these options are dice. There's the book, but there's only 10 mortal follower options for models. So the book I'm going to be talking about is Plague Guard. Now, I love this book. I'm going to be doing a separate book review for it, but it was great. It had the Hallowed Knights going in to rescue one of their fellow Stormcast out of the realm of Nurgle, out of the Plague Garden. And they go through it, and as their adventure unfolds, they run into different units of mortal followers. And as I'm reading this, I'm just jotting these down, being like, oh, wow, this is so cool. When they redo the battle tome, they should make all of these models. So I'm going to go through line by line of what I thought they could have released, and I hope still what will be released in the future. So the first thing is that the Maggotkin of Nurgle. So many of them are members of the Order of the Fly. So it's actually a knightly order that worships like a version of the Lady in the Lake that's been corrupted by Nurgle. So they actually have rules. They consider themselves very knightly. They have chivalry still. They're protecting the people from the evil Stormcast, right? Like they actually go out of their way to protect followers of Nurgle. It's actually super interesting. So the first thing that they mention in the book is pox monks. Okay, so they have these mortal followers who are kind of humans who congregate at the temples of Nurgle or places of worship who are fanatics. So a good representation here is plague monks. So the plague monk models are kind of what I would envision these models being. Again, you could throw in humans, dwarf, elf models as these pox monks, arm them with a sword and a shield, have them do chants. There's a bunch of different ways it could take shape in the game. But again, this is another mortal follower unit that I would love to see in the game. So the next thing that happens in the book is they run into a Nurgle witch. So they have Nurgle caster models, like they have the new one that was released here, the Rotbringer Sorcerer. But they specifically reference this witch. So she's a really well-known caster for Nurgle, and she's described in the book very much like this. So this is one of the new Red Harvest models. She has no eyes. She wasn't carrying around an eye, but it's Nurgle. Of course you can do that. You could paint this up even to be a really cool play caster for Nurgle. But again, bringing out a couple witch models, maybe for every single faction have mortal followers that are casters, right? Some more new models. So the next thing that's discussed is the Balefire Archers. So this is really critical when it goes into the theory about Nurgle being a knightly order. So they actually have peasant bowmen. So they've recruited local peasants and taught them how to shoot bows, and the arrows that they fire actually have poisons on them or this balefire. So good representation of that is the old Bretonnian archer models. You could imagine these being corrupted by Nurgle, and just, being behind all the knights, providing support and cover fire for them, which is what happens in the books. They literally cover the knights as they go into combat, and then when they retreat. These would be such cool models to have. The next thing that they have, I think, is probably one of the coolest things, I think. So in the book, and this is a good representation of this is the Cawdor Stig Shambler. So it's a Cawdor gang member on top of an ogre here with a flamer. I think that's a flamer. So in the book, they're called wormbows. So it's a plague bear on top of a corrupted ogre that has a giant bone, like, crossbow growing out of the ogre's spine and is just shooting arrows at people. So it's like a ballista coming out. Where's that model? I want that model. That is such a cool idea, and I absolutely love that. That'd be another thing I would love to see in the future. They also talk a lot about the Nurgle Knights, where we have models for unmounted Nurgle Knights. So the Putrid Blight Kings are these knights where they're not on horses. These are the kind of knights of the realm, I'd say, that are going around and protecting these Nurgle followers or worshippers. So they talk about Nurgle Knights. Now, these are the knights from the Chaos Undivided, like Slaves to Darkness, start collecting. These would not work for Nurgle, but you could see this kind of more dynamic stuff, but put them on slugs or maybe donkeys. I don't know. There's so many ideas that you could do for this, but having actual Nurgle Knight models, again, would be so cool. So the last thing in the book I wanted to bring up is called the Rot Guard. So the Rot Guard is where they get towards the end of the book, and they actually have these great unclean ones that specifically guard Nurgle himself, Grandfather Nurgle. So they're great unclean ones that have massive pieces of rusted armor that they wear. They have giant shields and swords, and they're the knights that guard Nurgle. So to get into this gated area, you have to go past them, and they stand there on watch constantly, protecting Grandfather Nurgle. So there is the Great Unclean One model. Again, great model, a lot of different variations on it, really cool. I'd love to see just a kitted out armored Great Unclean One just going across the battlefield wrecking stuff. That is amazing, and I think 100% that they should do that. The last thing that they could do for cool different Nurgle models is in the storyline. Where is he? So Gutrop Spume is a big part of this story in Plague Garden. He's on a corrupted, essentially pirate ship that he's the captain of, and on it there's plague bears who have bandanas like they're pirates. There's a whole mortal crew with demons that are manning this pirate ship. Lean into that. I want some Nurgle pirates. That sounds amazing, and I would get those models instantly. But yeah, that just about does it for this Maggotkin in review. I hope you liked it. If you have anything that I missed, or there's models that you'd love to see as well, please let me know in the comments. I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos like this, so I hope to see everyone back here soon. Yeah.